Welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your weekly podcast where we talk all things Warhammer and wargaming. I'm one of your hosts, Wargaming Luke, and as always, I am joined by my two amazing co-hosts. I have Simon and Ben joining us. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good.
Not too bad. I have biscuits, so I'm good.
Biscuit, all good.
Always
and we have a returning guest. It's good to see Tom, aka Tabletop Tom, again. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm good, thanks, gents. Thanks for having me back on.
No problem at all. As we said, we're in the UK here, guys, or I should say England specifically. Some of us are rather depressed this morning as England have finally been knocked out of the Euros after last night's final. I'm surprised I am as alive as I am, but we are all here. No, England did get knocked out by Spain.
English. But... Yeah. I just drank a cup of tea. I think the rest of them were on beer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I would give the solid one for that, yeah. But before we do get in... sorry, Ben, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, before we dived into the football, Tom, first returning guest. Congratulations.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
The honour of the first returning guest.
I do feel
that's a good point. Yeah. One thing we were going to say before we get into things, Tom, just a bit of a catch-up, really, since we've last seen you. What have you sort of been up to in the hobby and whatnot, I suppose? Like recent projects. Obviously, we've got 4th edition for Sigmar coming. Are you getting involved with that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got the Skaven Side set, which is actually my first launch set for any Warhammer game for a long time, going back to like Dark Imperium. So it's pretty cool to not have to wait for the rule books and the fun stuff straight out the gate. So plenty of models to get in and built and ready for Spearhead games, no doubt. But largely speaking, I've probably just been working on my Dark Angels, which is the army I'm probably treating as my main 40k army for 10th. But also sort of touching up to my Necrons. I've got my Custodes looking at me from the corner of the room. So I guess it's kind of a lot of painting, but slow, methodical painting that's actually making progress. So yeah, just the usual sort of hobby slog, as it were.
That's it. Yeah. No, good stuff. But I'm liking the sounds of that and getting into new Sigmar. I'd be interested to see maybe drop into the Discord, and that we'll see when you get stuff ready. And if you've had any games, let me know what your thoughts are on Spearhead, etc. If you get to have a game, that'll be interesting.
When you said Dark Imperium, my brain inserted Dark Millennium. I'm like, whoa, that's ages ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I was a bit before my time, but it's yeah,
sadly not mine.
I'm surprised you haven't immediately pulled it off your shelf behind you, Si.
Yeah. I don't actually have that box. Actually, no, I don't have Dark Millennium. It's a box full of cards. Yeah, I might buy it if I can find it.
Cards and templates.
True.
Indeed. Well, thanks for your update, Tom. Before we do get stuck into news and whatnot, if you're joining us for the first time, or if you're watching us already, guys, make sure that you're subscribing to us on YouTube and throwing likes on our videos and leaving us comments down below. Let us know what your thoughts are. And obviously, if you're listening to us over on Spotify, make sure you're following us over there and leaving us all the good reviews and whatnot. That would be fantastic. One thing that I was going to say as well, Discord, that is the other one I always forget it, the last one to mention. Join us over in the Discord. The links are all in the description below, guys. You can join us over there for weekly chat in between episodes. It's always good fun chat over there.
You did kind of mention Tom, so that was sort of thrown in there.
Yes, that's true, actually. So there you go. But I'm glad I remembered it anyway. But Ben, what is it time for?
And now, the news.
Fantastic. There we go. I remembered it this week. I forgot last week. So there is a ton of news this week, guys. And we've got community questions this week as well. We're going to end with a game of How Much this week as well. So we're going to see how that should be good fun. And I think it's the first one we've ever done where we've got a guest on. So that'll be good fun later on.
I think it is, yeah.
It is, yeah. But let's throw up the Sunday preview because there's a lot going on in the Sunday preview this week. First up, obviously, I'm surprised this actually came up this weekend, or is coming up for pre-order so soon. I thought we'd get just the Dwarves first, but Hive Secundus.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, weren't we, before we started recording. This and the Dwarfs on the same pre-order weekend. So if you're one of those people who wants to pick up both,
poor.
It's going to be expensive. It's going to be really expensive.
It's nice to see the two sides, isn't it, as well together now?
Yeah,
Collectively to see what you kind of get in the set. It's
seeing all the
really
mouse
nice.
strain stuff in one picture is really nice as well.
We haven't had you,
brood scum
Tom.
as well.
Sorry, we haven't. I don't think we've had you on actually since obviously this was announced. Are you much a Necromunda person? What's your thoughts on this?
No, I haven't played sort of the more recent versions of Necromunda, but I do. I think that the kind of vibe they've got for it, particularly that you see in a lot of the artwork, it really stands out well on its own now. And like I think about when I go into gaming stores and things like Infinity catch my eye because they've got a very interesting sci-fi look and feel. And I'm looking at the artwork sort of at the top of that preview towards the left. That's the sort of box that could sell on its own to a new fan or a new player. So I guess I'm just liking that it's got an identity of its own. It's got these nice cool gene stealers and things like that. They're willing to really play about with it. So it's always appealing to me, I guess is probably what I would say, but I haven't yet jumped in.
I mean, I know we've had Leagues of Votan now as well in Necromunda, but it's the first kind of Xenos kind of thing we've had, I suppose. Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, mix it up a bit.
I think it is very much what they're going for with the look of the box. Is it could just be a standalone game, like you could have seen it if you didn't know.
There's kind of an Aliens vibe to it, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I'm disappointed. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say we've got the sentry guns to come as well, and the Hive data stack clusters, which we're about to see. So there's all sorts of heading into the dark and trying to retrieve the samples kind of theme, like it was for Aliens.
So you obviously got the rule book that'll come up, I imagine, separately probably as well. You got the Hive data stack clusters, like you said, Si, and the terrain pieces. Ruin Zone Mortalis
and the Ruin scenery as well, all coming out for pre-order at the same time.
I know. This is a massive pre-order. I mean, we'll come to it at the end of this Sunday preview.
This could have been an entire week's pre-order all on its own. I mean, it genuinely, they could have done this like during the weeks in between when like Age of Sigmar was waiting to drop. They could have been doing this and just taking money from that, to be honest.
I know. It's like you said, I think you mentioned it last week, Ben. They quite clearly wanted to leave a dead week for people to keep trying to buy Skaven Tide.
Please buy Skaven Tide.
Yeah.
The only thing I was pondering was what the cost might be, because we obviously don't know what the cost might be for the Hive Secundus box.
I haven't personally seen any leaked prices, so
no, neither have I. What do people reckon?
I'm thinking like 135. It's not going to be as high as Skaven Tide.
Really? You think it's going to be that much? I'm not sure it'll top 100.
No, I think it will.
Because look at what you've got in there. You've got essentially maybe £60 worth of models. Yes, there's the book, but then you've got a cardboard mat and a couple of like one sprue of plastic bulkheads.
We need to find an equivalent. We need to find an equivalent box, really, don't we?
Well, the ash wastes had tons of plastic scenery in, so the ash waste isn't really a fair.
The ash waste was huge. Yeah.
Look, if you look at things like the Kill Team starter set, which had more models and a rule book and less scenery and more scenery actually, and the Kill Team starter box was under £100. So I'm wondering if this might be under 100. If this might be like 85, maybe.
Well, the Hive War set is 110. It's out of stock now, so that just tops 100.
Could be around that.
Could be around the £100 mark. Then we'll have to wait and see. If the prices come up in the next week or so, I'm sure we can cover it.
Definitely.
But you've also got little bits
just
and
come
bobs
back up to
coming
the Hive data stack clusters again, if you would. One of the details that I didn't mention last time when we looked at these, if you look carefully, it looks like they extend outwards on pistons, which I think is quite a cool touch.
Yes.
So as you try and access the data stack, it's like it's going to come out towards you, and then the crystal comes out at the end. I like how they're actually on pistons. I wonder if you could model them closed, rather than open.
I was going to say with the cables, I'm assuming you can't model them like magnetized so that you can open and close them, which is a shame.
No, you might have to just have it shut. Yeah.
I'm sure.
But I wonder if you could have like one of them just closed, and there's a different cable in the box that you could use. So failing that, guitar string would do the job.
I'm going to wait and see if somebody puts LEDs in it and makes it so that you can pop them out, and make it so that when you pop them out, the LED goes off. That'd be cool.
Yeah, with the noise.
Yeah. You got the proxy and the fixer come in, the two individual models that you can add to your gangs. Cool. We know they're coming.
Lord Flashheart and his mates.
Yes.
Wiggling Wolf.
I don't.
This was a nice
Hot
touch.
starch kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.
Yeah, the Carta Galactica, the Secundus Exclusion Zone.
Mm.
The
Yeah, I like how the
poster map,
hive has been obliterated on the map as well.
onto the old worlds, and finally we're getting the dwarves.
Oh, so looking forward to this. I'm going to be so poor.
Poor.
I mean,
If anyone wants the car washing, Ben will be doing car washing on the
everyone wants-
weekends.
Everyone wants a
for that
kidney.
Warhammer fund. For that Warhammer pocket money.
Yeah, no, I need the book. I'll just as we go through. I need that.
Yeah, the Arcane Journal.
Ben, why don't you tell us what you're not getting? That's probably easier.
I don't need the battalion. I've got enough
Right.
like warriors, and I don't need the new. I don't need the
We had
newest
this.
Star
We had this revealed already, didn't we? The battalion.
We did, yes.
Yes,
I don't think there's actually anything new except for the
Old
yeah,
stuff
the-
coming back.
no the transfer sheet. I think is the first only thing we haven't seen before. I don't think we've seen
Oh,
the
fair
transfer
enough.
sheet
Yeah.
before. We've seen the dice. Obviously, those were
Nice
spoiled
transfer
early
sheet,
on. It is a very nice transfer sheet.
We saw the dice
Lots of
before we saw
runes
the
on
orcs
there.
and goblins.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah.
the cards, okay, we didn't see the packaging, but it's just the dwarf off the cover of the book. We've seen
Look at
Ungrim
this.
We know we've got an Orngrim. He's
Need
my
him.
God, I love that
Absolutely
miniature
need
is
him.
Incredible.
Dwarf Lords with the shield bearers.
Yeah, I kind of need these.
Well, they're kind of the centerpiece that they've released, aren't they? The new centerpiece, I guess.
Yeah.
Such a cool kit.
We've
This
seen
guy, I'm
as well.
assuming, is a separate model. It doesn't come off
I
that
missed
familiar
this when
kit.
we first looked at the preview
Dwarf
last
Thane
time.
with the handgun.
Did we look at this?
We did, yeah.
Yes.
Dwarf Thane
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Oathstone
Oh,
with a
just-
handgun.
Erased it from my brain, then I couldn't remember it when I saw it.
That I think that was that the Adepticon preview. There was a lot
Yeah.
revealed, to be fair, in that preview. So
Like,
not
here's all the
surprised.
dwarf stuff. And I go,
Yeah.
like, yay! This is
Classic
a lot of the
dwarf
returning
characters, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the
Um,
Forge World resin ones, the one that was up until last week available in the Age of Sigmar section of the store.
Oh
We're not
yeah.
going to talk about
And
that. Gloss
the-
over that bit.
the metal engineer characters that they've done. It's interesting. I think the Troll Slayer Champion has had another new standard top. I think this is the third new standard top they've done for the Troll Slayer Champion. Because
I
it
like the,
was,
uh,
I've got the original, which has a dead troll's head on, but it doesn't have all the
Is it a river troll on the
dang.
top?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's stone
accoutrements.
trolls.
Stone troll. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got the original that's got the stone troll on, but it doesn't have all the dangling accoutrements. Then when they
Oh, right.
released it again, they released it with a iron, like forged. So instead of a real troll's head, it was like a metal replica troll's head. And now we're back to a real troll's head, but with dangly stuff on.
Oh, crazy.
And one thing I will just complain about, I do not like that they've stopped painting the beards ginger because it looks weird and it
It
freaks me
looks
out.
odd. Like Slayers for me and Fire
Oh, I
Slayers
never
should always
noticed, yeah.
be pure
Different coloured
ginger
beards.
everything.
Yeah, they've done it like the hair's dyed ginger, but the beards aren't. And I guess in
Very
the books
strange.
it doesn't mention dyeing the beards so much. It does mention dyeing the crest,
Okay.
but someone has interpreted it literally, and they just look so weird.
I'll
yeah,
be
and they
honest,
look
like I
tabby
didn't
cats
know.
now, I can't see it.
I didn't know enough about the lore. I didn't actually know that they dyed their hair, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
no, it's the
I
whole
just
thing.
figured they were all literally ginger.
They shave their hair when they first take the Slayer oath, and then they grow it into this weird ass mohawk. And as it grows,
Yeah, dye
they
it.
kind of dye it
Makes
orange.
a lot more sense than what I was thinking. But yeah. And then you got the classic dwarf troops that'll come
and
on.
the Age of
obviously.
Sigmar stuff.
Yeah, that's coming back. Reebok.
The only one of
basis.
these then is metal. Is the Slayers there? The only one of those that's metal,
Okay.
which
That's
is interesting.
it's interesting.
So yeah, I don't need any of
classic
those. I've got
dwarf
all of those.
mercenaries.
These are metal though.
These guys are funny on the left. I don't think I've ever seen these.
I've not seen them in
Look,
real life.
these
They
are older
were in
than
the
you.
original dwarf book.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm surprised I haven't, at least seen a picture of them before. It's the little scrunched up faces. It's
They're
hilarious.
beautiful. They
They're
are
really
such awesome little dwarves.
They're very cute.
What I'd be interested to know is whether or not those are a regiment of renown in the book, or whether like a mercenary unit. Like it
Well, they
says.
said something about dogs of war.
They
Yeah.
say they are the Imperial Dwarfs are dogs of war.
Oh, okay.
It says here, yeah. So dogs of war. options,
They're gonna have
dwarves
to
army.
join my. This is how my Empire army slowly begins to resemble the classic fourth and fifth edition Empire army. Because I've already got some mercenary ogres in there from the Orc and Goblin.
Yeah, like you
Arcane
needed an
Journal.
excuse.
So now I can add the dwarves into the Empire army that way as well. I can just play Old World proper Empire army.
I think these are some of my favourite old dwarf models.
They are very cool.
They're really cool, and I love the paint jobs on them, like that kind of berserker, almost like
You can take our lives, but
yeah,
you'll never
very
take
part-
our iron brew.
The Orc
Those
Gaskell-
axes were a nightmare back in the day, though, because you can imagine the metal just bending as you
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
back into the
But
case.
on the other hand, at least they're not fine cast.
Oh,
True.
God, that would be awful. Oh,
The dark
There's a
Eve.
podcast. I think I'd shave my own head and go and
oh.
join a Slayer cult.
You got the classic dwarf war engines coming back.
Yep.
So, like, is it the grudge thrower, a bolt thrower?
A stone thrower, but they can now call it a grudge thrower. Then
That's
it's a
it,
bolt
yeah.
thrower, flame cannon, and the goblin hewer, which again weirdly only has 2 crew now. It's missing Malachi McKayson.
Yeah, I
okay.
noticed that. I guess Malachi isn't in this era, so they're not going to sell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody pointed out, didn't they, on Facebook, I think it was, or on Twitter, saying, "Hang on a minute, he wasn't around. How could this be a thing?" So it's just an early prototype. It is. Just deal with it.
Even though it wasn't invented for another 250 years, but hey ho.
Yeah, maybe
I
he
do
found
like
a
it.
drawing somewhere and thought,
I
you know,
absolutely need that Anvil of Doom. I've been waiting for them to re-release this Anvil of Doom since they said they were bringing old models back, because I love
very
that
cool.
Anvil of Doom.
It's like I really want the what's it called again? The casket. Is it for the casket of
Casket of
souls for Tomb
Souls.
Kings? It's very
Oh,
similar
yeah.
sort of vibe.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
you need to
something
look at
I do want to get.
the Horned Rat on Instagram. Chris, my friend, he's got a 3D printed casket of souls, like an alternate one.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Ooh.
absolutely incredible.
Really, I actually
Yeah.
saw. Not to.
I'll
extend
find a
this
link
too
and post
much,
it on the Discord. In fact, I should invite
Not-
Chris to the Discord.
Not to go off topic
Yeah,
too
definitely.
much, but I did. I don't know if you guys saw it. Somebody converted a casket of souls, and they'd taken like the Nighthaunt ghosts from, I think it's the Bone Reaper terrain piece.
Oh yeah.
And they put all of the souls coming up out of the casket, like into an arch
Oh,
kind of thing, and
cool.
swirling around each other. It looks awesome, and it inspired me to possibly do something similar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One interesting thing just before we finish scrolling past it. Well, 2 interesting things. So I'm assuming the Bugman's Cart will be a mercenary unit that you can take in the Dwarf Army. I'm assuming that's gonna have some kind of in-game purpose, because otherwise there's no reason to re-release it. But I actually have Bugman's Cart, and I just want to throw in there that the little donkey that pulls it, and it is a donkey because the tail, when you look at it on the actual model, is a donkey tail, not a horse tail, has a name, because its name is printed on the little metal stand that mine has. It's Buggy the donkey.
Nice. Well, the cart does have an in-game purpose. In the Arcane Journal article that they posted today,
I haven't
they're
seen
saying
that yet.
if Bugman's there, dwarves will move faster.
It does say at the bottom of
Ooh.
this here.
There's something else as well. I
speed.
can't remember what it was, but they move faster. And there's some. I can't remember what the other bit is, but we might have to have a look at the article. But he does provide an in-game boost.
Although they've said it's a draft pony, and it's very clearly not a draft pony because it has a donkey tail, because I have one, and it's got a long hair-covered tail with a tuft on the end rather than a horse's tail.
Welcome to Zoology Hammer.
Yes. If we're going to get things right, we have to get things
Yeah.
technically right, because being technically correct is the best kind of correct.
But that is pretty much it, I believe, for the Sunday preview. So one thing
That's
I can go
just the Sunday
straight-
preview.
No, I know. So we can pretty much go straight onto, and we've kind of swapped this one in last minute. It is revealed today, also for Necromunda, that just more stuff being dropped. The Book of Desolation, which will be the first, I believe, expansion campaign book under Hive Secundus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we suspected a book was coming, didn't we? We talked about it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, looking at the front of that, so we've got an Horus Spire on the left. We've got what's his face?
The awesomest tech priest in the world model.
Hermias.
On the right.
What's it called?
Hermiatus, is
Hermias.
it?
Yeah.
Hermiatus.
Oh,
Hermiatus.
Hermias.
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
Hermias off Stargate, isn't it? Who's that in the middle? That's what I
I
want to know.
don't know. That's an interesting question. She's got a bionic arm.
Yeah, and a gas.
But that's-
It said here. But-
Yeah.
Is this maybe an Orlok like gang that's going to be appearing in?
Well,
I
it
don't know,
says
does it look
does
all
say, so. If you read through the article, basically this campaign book's it's gonna allow you to play the up to 4-player campaigns in
Yeah.
Secundus, and then it can also serve as its own game. In the
What's
Underhells.
interesting is that the other two characters on the cover of the book are specific. You know, one is an Horus Spire, which is in the
Yeah.
box, and the other one
But
is.
it does say below there's 4 new gang things in this book that you're gonna get. So obviously you get in the 2 new ones we already know of.
There's the two versions of Malstrain, because they itemized them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's Malstrain Gang, which is your
which can
brood scum
only
and
be
your
used in
Malstrain
Hive
Gene
Secundus
Stealers.
campaigns.
And then
It's,
Malstrain. Go on, sorry, Ben.
Yeah, you were going to say that there's the Malstrain Corrupted gangs, which is
Yeah, Malstrain Corrupted allows you to take elements of a Malstrain into like corpse grinding. So Malstrain Corrupted, so it allows you to take a limited number of Malstrain fighters into the mainline gangs. So all 6 gang houses Enforcers, which is just crazy. Corpse Grinder cults.
Well, 2 versions of Enforcers as well.
Yeah, Polonite Enforcers
And
and,
the
the
Bad Zone.
Bad Zone Enforcers. So that's mental.
Corpse Grinder
you're kinda
cults
like a
with Gene
Gene
Stealer
Stealer cult.
Mouse Strains are going to be the most horrendous gang to fight, because Corpse
Yeah.
Grinder cults are horrible to fight already. And I say this as someone who's got a Corpse Grinder gang, but adding Mouse Strain stuff in there as well is just going to be horrendous. Like, you might as well just stick your gang in a blender rather than send them in to face that.
There's going to be some awesome conversions between Corpse
Mm.
Grinder and Malstrain. People are going to
Mm.
come up with some horrific looking gangs.
Yeah, so
Interesting, though.
but it doesn't specify, therefore, who that person on the cover necessarily is. Like,
No,
I know it says you can have a seconded incursion gang, which is replace one gang member, basically the gang leader for a regular house gang, with a Spira. But she doesn't look like a Spira, nor does she look like she fits any of the other definitions. So I take
Like you said,
Sky's point.
she looks Orlock, doesn't she?
kind of, yeah. And then the other thing is, if you go up that Abyssal Ferryman that they just mentioned there,
Mhm.
as part of the Underheld campaign, players venturing into the Abyss in search of plunder will also hire a specialist team of Abyssal Ferrymen when mustering their gang. But I don't think that's specifically a miniature, is it? That's like...
I mean, it might be like a gang hanger on, but they do miniatures for pretty much all of the gang hangers on. I've just seen actually what she might be, because it says that you also can have a specialist explorer called a tech hunter, and then there's 4 different versions: augur attack, biotechnist, gun tech, or technomat.
Well, the tech hunters are the Vansar, aren't they? But they can be an expert in one of 4 fields. So in the box, I think of those 8 Vansar, presumably you're going to get one of them looks like a medic, doesn't it? So that might be the biotechnist.
Yeah, I suppose I was thinking maybe she was like one of the specialist explorer.
Oh, possibly, yeah. I mean, perhaps it is from another gang.
It's that you've got the Vansar thing, and then you can also field a specialist explorer, which is one of these. But maybe there are different types of Vansar. Maybe you're right. I just thought for a minute, ooh, we're getting a new kind of weird bionic explorer cool character.
Yeah.
And then obviously
there's so much to read into it, though.
You're going to get the rules, as we said.
What's interesting though is
characters.
They've not mentioned Tamino, so Lady Helmo's
no.
brother. So, well, is he going to get a model and a rule, or are they just going to gloss over that?
Well, or is that going to come later in the kind of Hive Secundus campaign? Because I mean, this
Possibly,
is the first book for Hive Secundus. Maybe there'll be a second one. Maybe he'll come in the second one.
Surprise me.
But yeah, and then obviously we'll have the kind of new big characters for this campaign setting. They'll be on pre-order at the same time as this.
Yeah, it does say just above those 3, two unique ferryman teams.
Yeah, interesting. So we'll have to wait and see, I suppose, what that could be. It does say, I believe, as well. Obviously, we'll get more news and about what this is all about over the coming weeks as well. If we've got a big reveal day coming soon, so I'm sure we'll have more Necromunda stuff drop on that. That'll be based around this new campaign expansion. So that will be interesting to see. The last thing I suppose that we can chat about for news this week, even though, to be honest, we've cut out a couple of things because there's so much this week. GW, please spread your news out over the weeks more for people such as ourselves. But this is actually one that came up just before we kind of started to put together our news from last week. And one of our commenters from last week said, I'd love to hear you guys talk more heresy, and I agree. We'll try and get more heresy in if we can do, if there's news that's worth chatting about. And this was one that slipped through the net last week, to be honest.
Yeah, we just didn't have time to put it in.
We said before we started, didn't we, Si, tonight? When I first saw the article, I thought it was just a lore article. It just skipped past me, but it is actually the next expansion for the Horus Heresy. I'll be honest, I'm not big on heresy, so I've not followed much the previous books we've had. But as it's kind of saying here, it's obviously with the Martian Civil War, so all based around Mars, yeah?
You've got Dark Mechanicum, basically. I mean, it's
Demon
a
engines.
whole new
Demon
thing.
engines, that's the word I was looking for, sorry. So yeah, more stuff on the demon engines. Questorus Knights, all that sort of stuff. But the one thing that caught my eye that I thought was quite cool, given I'm not even a heresy player, is something that allows you to basically field a Scion of Sarum, which allows you to field whole armies of frenzied blood slaughterers. That's cool. I completely forgot what the blood slaughters were, so I searched them before we started, and it's those, like the crab kind of dark mechanicus
Walks on
thieves.
knives.
Yeah, so that would be cool to just have an army of those. You could actually theme an army around those and like crab type, like, you know, all of your characters and whatnot being on like the multiple legs and stuff. I can see really cool themed armies for that.
So I mean, I had really kind of thought about talking about this book, and it is an awesome book in terms of what it does for at least what it appears to do for the Mars aspect, the Adeptus Mechanicus aspect of Horus Heresy. What perhaps hasn't been done before, and I'm sure the people in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, because I fully accept that although I love the Horus Heresy and I have a Horus Heresy army, I'm not as into it as some of my friends are. But my understanding is that previously you could play an Adeptus Mechanicus army, and you could play it as a loyalist, you could play it as a traitor. But aside from a couple of little kind of warlord traity bits, it was otherwise basically the same army. Like you still fielded, you know, Thanatars, you still fielded Castellax. It was exactly the same unit types, just I'm a loyalist, I'm a traitor. Either way, we look exactly the same. This one seems to imply that they are going full on Dark Mechanicus in here. So you have the option of playing demon engines, like Si says, and that's huge, because I mean there's been loads of demon engines that Forge would have made over the years, but they've mostly been made for kind of 40k, and then it's been kind of a side note of, oh, but you could take a blood slaughterer in this list, I guess, why not? But this is going to be the first time where you can literally go, no, this is a Adeptus Mechanicus army, so I've got, you know, Castellax, their version of the robots, I've got you know Thalax, the kind of cyborgs with the lightning guns. And alongside that, I've got giant demonic possessed monsters that are blurting scrap code everywhere. It looks like it's something that we've been praying for in 40k for years, and it's coming to the Horus Heresy first, which I think is huge.
And just as like a thing off of what we just looked at with Necromunda, quite nice timing that you have that Hermiatus model coming. You could maybe do some cool converting with him to make like a new character alongside this, I'd imagine. I'd love to see some people doing that.
Demonically possessed tech priest with like a weird gribbly arm.
Yeah, because one of the coolest reveals we got from Adepticon, to be honest, was the Dark Mechanicum set, that huge set that you're going to be able to probably pre-order soon. That looks awesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, not much more really to say on the expansion there. I know, Tom, you're kind of here and there on Heresy.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm more into Legions Imperialis, so it's always interesting when Games Workshop seems to be unleashing the Titans in various formats. So Legions has its own Titan v Titan format that came out with the Great Slaughter book, which is really cool because I love Titans, and by the sounds of it, they're trying to make Titans a little bit more accessible with the new Titan support stratagem that's coming with this. And I think, picking up on Ben's point, I think the maybe something they haven't done before, and again, I'm a bit of a novice pre-current Heresy, I think the way the narrative missions and the ways of playing on Mars, the way the scrap code plays around with reactions and things, I think that's going to be really cool for a lot of people, even if you're just playing against Mechanicum. So that'd be really interesting. One thing I guess to throw a question to you is do you think, and I heard Winters talk about this on YouTube, do you think we're heading towards a new edition in a year or two?
Well, when was the last edition? Was it 2 years?
It was about 2 years ago.
Well, if it's a 3-year cycle, but I mean, I know it's obviously. I know we've had bigger gaps in the past. It's only more recently that even like what you'd call like the games that aren't the core ones, right? So even the skirmish games now as well, they seem to be on a 3-year cycle. So maybe I don't know. I think it would be due next year.
Longevity to it, to be honest. I think we're gonna get this version of Horus Heresy for at least another 2 years. I think.
Do you think? I hope so, because
it's from what I can gather, it's a pretty decent rule set, and you know, they're just waiting for more stuff to come out for it. It's not in need of a massive refresh, from what I can, I mean, feel free to correct me in the comments, but from what I can gather, it's quite well received within the community, and people are quite happy.
The original Heresy ran for, it's got to be at least 10 years almost on one version of the rules. Like they released the red books that updated it, but it didn't really change the core game. It was just, hey, here's all the rules in one book, and here's all the legions in another book. cool. Now you only have to carry 2 books around with you rather than 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
People carrying a small library around with them. But
I mean,
again,
perhaps it's not the right term to say people are happy, but I don't think there's a big clamouring for a refresh at this time.
No.
I think, especially given that a lot of the Horus Heresy stuff, it is about big, expensive books. Like, I mean, the Martian Civil War book is going to be at least, what, 40 quid, do you reckon?
Yeah.
It'd be a chunky book, yeah.
If you fork that out and then a year later you have to fork out another 40 quid for another one, you're going to get really royally hacked off.
One thing I can see them doing next year, if they don't do a refresh, which I'll be surprised if they do, is one thing they do is if it's due for that refresh, they decide they don't want to do a new edition. They quite often just release a new starter set and refresh the starter set. That's something I could see them doing.
Well, I think there will be a new starter box, an Age of Darkness type box with plastic Mark II and something else in it.
Yeah,
I think.
Hopefully something
Mark
more
V
affordable
armor.
as well.
Mark 5. They haven't done a plastic
be.
Mark 5 yet.
Hopefully something more affordable as well, because the last one was quite a big set and it was very expensive to kind of get involved. So
They've gone to the trouble of creating a new identity for Mark V as well. It's been cast in Forge World resin. There's a new version of Mark V armor in resin, so you could well bring it to plastic.
I was going to say, Tom, you said about Legions of Imperialis with certainly with the not Imperial Guard. What the hell do they call it? Solar Guard or whatever the hell they call it. Yeah, Solar Auxilia in Horus Heresy. When they released the plastics of that for Horus Heresy, they then released the Legions version. So, do you think we'll get the same thing now that they're doing the plastic Dex Mechanicus for Horus Heresy? Do you think we'll get plastic Dex Mechanicus for Legions?
I would love that. I think genuinely, I think it'd be great to branch out.
We have a bunch of knights and titans backed up by like ad mech units. That would be amazing.
pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome for Epic, definitely.
I think as well because.
Go on, sorry.
Sorry, go on, Luke.
No, sorry, you carry on because it's not
like Legions as well. You've got that kind of almost like tertiary scouts where you've got the kind of foot troops, you've got the flyers, you've got the titans. So there's a lot of room to explore the factions there. But similarly as well, thinking over to Horus Heresy, I'm thinking of Custodes. And if we are eking our way towards Terra, and there's nothing to say they can't go back and do another previous campaign later on, maybe we're gearing up for a Custodes refresh when we get to the Siege of Terra, because if we're already at Mars, maybe that's the next big thing.
Well, I do wonder if they've shown a tendency to replace Horus Heresy resin kits with Horus Heresy plastic kits. I'm assuming because the technology wise it's there now, and also it's cheaper, I would imagine, than running resin. But almost all of the cool kind of Custodes vehicles are resin at the moment, so I wonder if maybe you're right, maybe we'll go back and they'll do plastic vehicles for the Custodes to just replicate what they've already got in Forge World resin.
Yeah. So
and then do Legion scale version.
Prepare next year for full female Custodes miniature set for
in plastic.
In plastic. And we'll look forward to it. Otherwise,
and on that bombshell.
I think we will move from news into community questions, because we've got a few we can actually go to answer this week. Some we may go through quicker than other, but we've got some good ones, yeah. The first of which comes from Sam Gardner from our Discord. I have a couple of related questions inspired by me doing the bases for my first army right now. Something helpfully covered in White Dwarf 501, which I picked up today by coincidence. Do you enjoy basing, as the final touch is bringing the model to life, or is it a chore for you to just get through and finally be done? Do you have any basing tips and tricks you want to pass on? So I guess the way we can do this, rather than just go round anybody, is just if anybody wants to pop off with any fun ideas they have. And then also you can throw in whether you like doing basing. Does anybody like doing basing first?
I don't hate it. I don't particularly say I would like it, but I do have one tip.
Yeah.
Use some stones from the garden, like little pebbles or something like that, just to stick them on your base, and then use something like any other brands are available, but I've got some AK Sandy Desert here that I use, and the good thing about this is it's quite a light color, so if you wanted to do a desert you can, but if you wanted to do like mud or whatever, you can just slap some contrast on it and you know, make it a different color, and it's quite good. It dries pretty well. But there's all sorts of different ones you can get, and you can get a concrete one and a tarmac one, which are pretty good. But there's other brands as well. But I don't love basing. I don't hate it. It's just get to the end of the model and do it, and that's it.
I think it depends if I've got a swarm army, like my Tomb Kings that I've just done. It can get a bit arduous. If you've got, obviously, like my Space Marines, for example, it's pretty easy. It's just not many to do. But I imagine if you have quite a big swarm army, it's going to get to you a bit.
Yeah, I think if it's a character as well, you put a little bit more effort in, don't you? But for the rank and file, it's just get it on there, maybe the odd tuft or the odd pebble, and done.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything interesting to add for bases? Any tips?
I'm one of those weird people who will undercoat the model, prime it, and then I'll do the base almost completely because I can't look at an unfinished base without feeling a bit of a cringe personally for me. My models, I don't like the look of my models without the bases done.
No, that's fair.
So
does anybody do bases separately before you put the model on?
No, I always do it at the end.
I know a lot of people that do it.
I got a friend, Mike from my Tale of Four Gamers, does what you do, Tom. He bases the models first.
Yeah.
Then he paints the model, and it does not compute. It's like if someone told me, I brush my teeth in the morning, then I go and immediately drink a glass of orange juice. Why? Why would you do that? It makes no sense.
I think it's just a very weird form of procrastination. I think it's just that the model feels more complex. So if I paint the base, maybe it's easier.
No, that's fair. I imagine with basing, it's quite interesting now that we've started discussing it. I wasn't sure what everybody would say with this, but I didn't think anybody would say they enjoyed basing. Really, really. I always look forward to the basing over anything else.
No, it's not my favorite part, but I will own up to having a tuft obsession. Like I'm. Yeah. They used it all started briefly that they did a particular type of tuft. They did two kind of tufts at Games Workshop, and they replaced one of them, which I think was called Mordheim grass or something like that. Right. They replaced it with a slightly different color, and it drives me nuts because I can't find any other company that does a tuft that matches the old Games Workshop one. But so whenever I see one that even comes close, I buy it and then take it home and compare it, because I've got armies, like loads of armies, that for years used that particular tuft. And now I can't find one to match it. But the side effect is I have a whole range of varying shaded grass tufts, which does actually, I think, come in quite handy with adding some variety to models. So in particular, I was working on a Lord of the Rings model earlier today. I was doing Aragorn. And what I've been doing with my Lord of the Rings one is putting different size and color tufts on there, because grass is not all one type of grass.
No.
I mean, even down to I've got some tiny, tiny little tufts that I bought to go on my epic models. Like on my epic models, they're like bushes, they come up to like halfway up the knee. But on the like the hobbits, for example, they're just then tiny little kind of little shrubs on the ground that add some height and depth to the model and gives it some life. I do have one tip I like sharing on this, which is if you are painting an old Hammer style model and you want to capture that goblin green looking base, but you don't want to have to go through all the faff of like the classic approach of sand or sawdust. Yeah, you've seen my tip on this. Valhalla Blizzard technical paint. Paint it on, straight onto the base. Mantis Warrior green contrast. It looks exactly as if you have done sand, goblin green, and a dry brush of Bad Moon yellow. It looks almost better like the classic goblin green flocked bases than the classic goblin green flocked bases look. It's brilliant.
It's been a very, very instructive episode this week. We've gone from Zoology Hammer to Botany Hammer.
Yeah.
With the grass.
I went through all four of the different variants of the Tech Hunter. I've done the Magus Biologist, and I've done the Magus Botanist, whatever.
Yeah.
Next topic, please.
I was going to say the only tip I was going to give, because I'm about to do my Skaven Tide mini soon. I've planned out how I'm going to do the bases. I want to do them looking like the kind of Vermintide cracked earth with the green coming through. So I've already tried it on some bases. I haven't actually posted the pictures yet, but effectively Mordant Earth from the Warhammer thing. So you got the black cracked earth with what's the bright green paint? I have it here somewhere.
Tesseract Glow? How bright are you talking?
It is Moot Green.
Oh, okay.
So that on a black base, it actually darkens it very slightly, which gets it to the perfect colour. Mordant Earth over the top. It's thick Mordant Earth so that it cracks properly, and it comes through really nice, and it looks like you've got that green glow coming from under the earth.
Sweet.
If you want your models to kind of look like the new, like kind of almost like what GW's done on their trailers and things for it. So Just a little
Nice.
tip if you're getting that going soon. But yes, we will move on to the next question, which comes through from Charax from the Discord as well. This one might take a little longer. This will be interesting. Favorite non-GW war game, any scale, any setting, and then basically try to pitch it to everyone else. Or alternatively, a non-GW war games that have interested you, but you haven't managed to play, but you want to. So I guess we could do either one. Who would like to start on this one? Tom, being the guest, have you thought of any kind of things that, non-GW maybe?
No, I haven't really got into many war games myself outside. I mean, when I was at my school clubs, a group of friends who I was very close with got into Flames of War, and I just didn't quite make the leap. I was about to. People had shown me the books, and I kind of thought about the army I would build, but I never quite jumped. But again, bringing up Infinity, I really, as a skirmish game, it appeals to me because it's quick, relatively easy games, although some people might argue Infinity is not the simplest game. But that kind of look and feel, that aesthetic, I mean, it's very anime, punk, sci-fi sort of thing. And it's I've always loved the look of it. I've actually played the role-playing game with friends. So I think if I was to get into another sort of war game, I'd probably try Infinity. Again, just, it's always that debate of, new game or just more Warhammer. And I haven't quite
Was it
got
Infinity
past
recently
Warhammer
that
yet.
just got bought out? Was it Infinity? Or was it something else? I can't remember.
Privateer Press got bought out.
Yeah, okay.
I did play
So
War Machine back in the
Dwarfs.
day. Sorry, I did play War Machine. Now you bring up Privateer.
Okay, yeah.
I had a Menoth group, not a very small one. That was fun. I don't know what's happened to War Machine lately, though. Whether
It's been bought out.
it's been
Yeah.
bought out.
Is it,
Yeah.
Infinity
So
Corvus Belli,
maybe
isn't it?
check that
Is
out.
right?
But
I think. So I've got things mixed up, but yeah. Oh, okay, that's interesting, Tom. There, yeah.
I've played Infinity once with my stepbrother, and it is a really fun game. It reminded me a little bit of Rogue Trader. It does feel like a role-playing game that's also a miniature game, if that makes sense. So there is an element of you're playing a small warband, and each one is very much almost like a character. So it is if you like that kind of small squad-based and character-driven kind of miniature game, it's really good for that.
and the models are incredible. Without personally speaking, like even if you just look at them, the detail on them, and just I think they're fun projects. Even if you just got a little group together.
My brother sends me pictures, and I kind of go, "Oh, that's really pretty. That's such a cool model."
They're really good. So definitely just check that out, Infinity, if it might interest you as a hobbyist, but it also might interest you as a game.
There's one suggestion. Should we go clockwise, Ben? Suggestion?
Yeah, okay, sure. So, I mean, I've played War Machine and Hordes back in the day. I haven't played either of them in over 10 years. I mean, God, probably nearly 15 years. I had a mercenary War Machine force and a Trollbloods Hordes, but nobody I know plays it anymore. I have no idea what the rules are now, and I'm not going to try and pitch you on that. The one that I keep coming back to and I keep eyeing up is Bolt Action. Because Warlord games make... I mean, I've read the rules for like Hail Caesar and stuff. And if it weren't for the fact that I think the problem I have with Hail Caesar is that if I were to make an army for Hail Caesar, it would be the Romans. I think everybody, if they look at Hail Caesar, go, cool, I can make a Romans army, because nobody wants to play the Gauls.
Unless they had Bolt Action.
I haven't. I've read the rules and I've looked at it and gone, this looks like a really good game. This looks like a game that if I was to start, and if I the same problem, do I start a new game or more Warhammer? And if I did start a new game, I think it would be Bolt Action, because I love things like, I mean, I like historical wargaming type stuff anyway. I mean, I did a Kelly's Heroes themed Imperial Guard army, and Bolt Action have Kelly's Heroes. You can literally buy Oddball and Kelly and all the rest as miniatures and use them on the tabletop as those characters. But I keep looking at their kits and going, they're much more reasonably priced than a lot of other mainstream games.
Yeah.
And the people who write the rules really know what they're doing. So I keep eyeing that up. And I think if I were to fall off the wagon, like people tempt me in the comments, tempt me on Bolt Action. Why should I fall off the wagon and just go ahead and collect the American Bolt Action army that I keep looking at? Because those Rangers models in particular keep calling to me.
I did play it for a little while. I had a Japanese army. It's a very nice game system. The only thing that I did think with it, I to be fair, I didn't have any other like World War II or historical games to compare it to, because I know there's a lot out there for World War II. It's a nice game system. but I didn't feel necessarily that there was enough depth for each of the different units to make them feel ridiculously different. It could be different nowadays. I haven't played it in a long time, so Bolt Action fans in the comments, don't burn me to death. But you know, that's the feel I got with it originally. But I know there's probably been new additions since, so I can't speak to it. But the actual core rules, a very nice game. Very nice game.
And the miniatures are gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah, very nice. I'll go next if we're going clockwise. I've played so many games that aren't GW games in the past. I've covered them on my own channel previously, so not easy for me to pick stuff out. But I do like to shout out indie games as well, because obviously they're kind of much smaller, harder to push for people. So some games that I can think of, so like Frostgrave, Stargrave. I know a lot of people have spoken about them before. Miniature agnostic indie games, so all you have to do is buy the book. You can literally play with your Warhammer minis if you want to. So if you're interested in any of those sort of things, kind of very closely tied a lot of the rules to more RPG as well. So it's more like you have a sort of a small warband, if you like, usually with these games. There's a lot more character development with each of your characters and your minis and that, both rules and lore. The setting, tons of expansions for both games. Stargrave's your sci-fi, Frostgrave is your fantasy. I recommend either.
I don't even think of those as indie games, to be honest, because they seem so mainstream now. Frostgrave,
they do now, but they are more really. It's Osprey Games. They basically are obviously publishing these individual people's work. Ash Barker from Guerrilla Miniature War Games is his channel. He does stuff through Osprey as well. He has his own games.
Okay.
Another one, I won't go deep onto it. Gaslands, if you've ever heard of it. Fantastic little game. It's one if you want to get a really simple war game and rules for your kids to play. Gaslands. Literally just need like little Hot Wheels cars. Really,
it seems like a natural evolution of like the Dark Future type game.
Yeah. You literally just need to set up a track with a few random bits of terrain. You could even find out your front room.
They sell some great terrain for it as well. I saw it at UK Games
yeah.
Expo, not this recent one, the one before.
Yeah, definitely. Those are a few that I'd suggest. All Osprey, if you want to search them, guys, and you can just use your own minis. So there you go. Si, end with you.
I've got an answer for both, if you'll indulge me.
Yeah.
The first one, the Games Workshop game that I would urge people to try, Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Yeah,
it's absolutely.
I knew you'd mention that. So
I knew you'd mention that as well. You got so many cool models for it.
The miniatures are fantastic. You don't need many miniatures to play it as well, which is really good. And it's just a fun game, and all the cards have like thematic sayings on them and stuff like that. Stuff you'd expect the characters to do. Easy to pick up and easy to play, and it's hard to master, but that's part of the fun. It really is a good game, so I won't bang on too much about that one. Games I would like to try: Flames of War, definitely. Historical war games do interest me, and probably Bolt Action as well. I wouldn't mind trying. If I had to choose between one or the other, I think I'd probably go Flames of War. But the other one I'd mention, and it's not quite out there yet, it's called Oscar Mike. It's a Vietnam war game.
I've heard of it.
They were doing demos at UK Games Expo. Rubicon Models make some really nice stuff. Their Huey model is absolutely awesome. And we had a demo game at UK Games Expo, and it was a lot of fun, actually. So yeah, Oscar Mike. I want to see how that plays out and how it goes. I think they're still developing the rules, to be honest with you, but it does look quite interesting.
Nice.
Okay.
I mean, you mentioned obviously Shatterpoint. I wasn't going to mention it because I thought you might bring it up. But to be honest, I know Atomic Mass Games own them now, but all of their games, the rules are probably some of the best in wargaming. The price point on stuff like the Marvel models and things, they can be expensive.
Yeah.
But if you want to get into a game that's not GW, their rules are so good.
Shatterpoint's good fun because of the whole tug of war system. Trying to get that control, and even when you lose, it's still fun because you just do some great stuff.
Yeah,
I would happily get into Crisis Protocol just because the models are so cool. If it weren't for the price point on that,
it's very expensive.
Like I've already got an expensive hobby in GW. I want to start a second miniature game. I want one that costs less.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think there's a danger that these Star Wars games start to overlap a bit too much? Maybe they don't, but you've got a bit like GW. You've kind of got Shatterpoint, I guess, for the skirmish. Then you've got I can't remember the name. Legion. Then you've got
Legion is a slightly smaller scale.
It's
The
interesting.
X-wing, they've stopped development on an X-wing now, haven't they?
Oh, have they?
Sadly,
Okay.
Yeah, just recently announced they've stopped all development for it.
which is sad, really, because that's always been very popular, and it's had such a big cult following, really.
Yeah.
But there we go. But yeah, I suppose we can move on from that. Some really nice suggestions for people there if you're considering other games, and do check them out, because Warhammer ain't the only thing in our lives. But of course, we're here to talk about Warhammer, so we will move on. The last question we have down for this week from community questions. This one is from... I'm going to have to get it back up here. Here we go. So this one's from Reddit, Hellbrecht123. So we've all heard of stories of that guy or overall bad experiences in the hobby. Time for the opposite. What's your most wholesome experience or favourite moment that you can remember? I mean, Sai, do you want to go you, and then we'll go back the other way this time, maybe?
Yeah, sounds good.
If you have an example.
I don't really have one, to be honest, so you might as well skip me.
Well, to be fair,
Nothing wholesome has happened to Sai.
Not really. Plenty of nice games and stuff like that with strangers, but there's nothing that springs to mind right now. If I can think of something, I'll bring it up in the next podcast.
I am
not a mistreated gamer, don't worry.
I have been to lots of tournaments and different things like that where you'd expect to hopefully have a nice experience. I'm close to Sai. I've had lots of nice people I've played against, but nothing that really stood out. The only one I have literally just come into my mind though, years ago when I did Warhammer Underworlds, actually, I did some tournaments that I went to. There was a guy that everybody was playing, and the warband that he'd painted, he brought another warband that he'd painted up. And basically it was a warband with 5 or 6 models in it, and we had 5 or 6 games in the day, and every game that he played, he gave a different model from that warband to everybody he played.
Oh wow!
That's
and
cool.
I thought that was really nice. That's one that's just come to me. And obviously, you go to tournaments and things, you have people like the one I went to, the narrative one for Sigmar I went to at Warhammer World. You always have people give you their a specific dice from their shop that they own or something, like a custom dice. That's always a nice touch. But yeah, that would be my addition to that. Ben?
So I've got loads of excellent memories of gaming. Like I can go, this is an awesome game. And a lot of it, I think it's about who you play the games with. I'm fortunate that I've known some really good games club.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a big shout out here to, in particular, the Hate Club in London. If you're ever in London, you want to hit up an awesome gaming experience.
What an ironic name, though.
Oh, no, that's it. Hackney Area Tabletop Enthusiasts. I'm what is known as a hater, which I'm a Hackney Area Tabletop Enthusiast regional member, because I don't live in London, so I get to go very rarely. The Hate Club, though, are literally one of the most awesome group of gamers you'll ever meet. And an excellent example that I can give is I was at a doubles tournament at Warhammer World a few years back. This may have been pre-COVID even. Good Lord, that's quite a while ago. But I think doubles tournaments I often have a lot of the most fun at, because you can't take them too seriously. Like if you are taking them too seriously, you're missing the point. But a buddy and I went along to this, and I think I may have mentioned before, we'd gone with the aim of getting the wooden spoon. Like, we weren't going to throw the game, but we were going to take ridiculous lists and have some fun. And we did do exactly that. And one of the best experiences was we came up against this father-son team. Like, the kid was maybe 11 years old, and him and his dad, he was really into Warhammer, so her dad had kind of gotten into it because his son was into it, but they built this Nurgle army together. And we got absolutely creamed by this 11-year-old. And he then turns to us at the end and goes, "It's all right, guys. It's only a game." And we're like, yes, he's got it. And he was such a cool kid. But the side effect of all of this was, like, we then told all our friends about what a cool guy he was, and they all then wanted to play him and his father as well. The dad travelled for work, and we found out that he sometimes travelled to London, so we hooked him up with the Hate Boys so that he could go along whenever he was in London for work and hang out with them, and he got some new friends out of that. We were all wearing T-shirts that we'd had printed up for the event. I think it was someone's 40th or something, so we'd all gotten these T-shirts, and we'd all got as Alfarius. So all of our shirts had Alfarius on the back. What's your team name? Alfarius. Who are you? I'm Alfarius. Really wound up the Games Workshop organisers by the fact that we changed all our name badges to just read Alfarius. But we got a T-shirt, we got a spare, and we gave it to the kid so that the kid could be Alfarius as well.
Nice.
And I think it's moments like that. It's sportsmanship, and it's being reminded of kind of that joy that kid had in the game. really just kind of it kick-started our weekend, and we had an amazing weekend of gaming after that. We unfortunately did not come last. We won one game over the weekend. We got creamed in all the rest of them, but we won one, sadly, so it didn't come bottom.
That's awesome, though. That's cool. Tom, anything interesting at all?
Yeah,
Or?
I don't know how I top that. That's
should have made Ben go last, shouldn't we?
yeah. I mean, a bit like Si. I think I can think of kind of experiences that I've really enjoyed. Often it's when you're having a conversation around the game that you meet someone, you ask where they're from, you start, you go, oh, I love the way you painted these. They talk about those sort of things happen throughout the game. I think sometimes when it's more than just rolling dice and trying to table the other person, that's when it really is fun, because otherwise we would just want to play online, wouldn't we? So that's what makes it for me. Although I do remember years and years ago, I went to Warhammer World for a Tyrannic War campaign, and I my first game, and it was my first major campaign weekend, so I found it a bit daunting. And the first person I played had this incredibly beautifully painted Tyranid army, went on to win best painted, and I spent the whole match just kind of in awe of his army and completely forgot to actually play as such. Got absolutely wrecked, but it was a joy because I was talking about how he painted it and other things he's worked on. He showed me photos, and if anything, the game was like a little side thing while we were chatting about the things we loved about the hobby. So yeah, things like that really do make
that's a
difference.
nice memorable one, to be fair. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, guys. I assume that's everybody's anyway, and no more to add. So we can, I suppose, move on out. That's the community questions from this week. So thanks to everybody who sent those in. We've got a few more already lined up. But as always, feel free, guys, to throw more community questions in our Discord. We have a section there. Over on Reddit, I do get a lot over there as well, and on other social media. So, and you can even just leave comments under the video, guys, and we'll pick some out if you ask any questions. So for future episodes. But we've got our game for the end of the episode this week, and we've chosen to play How Much?
How much?
How much?
There we go. So, Tom, obviously you're new to this, so for yourself and anybody else who's new to the game, we play this one every now and again. Effectively, the way it works is, this week at least, we're going to have two choices each. Basically, usually out of print Warhammer, or it could be just Wargaming in general, to be fair, if we wanted to, listings from eBay. And we basically note down to ourselves what the price or listing price, usually buy it now price on eBay of these listings would be. The rest of us will try and guess that person's listing, how much it actually is. The closest out of the three of us guessing that person's listing will get a point. So we've got two each this week because there's four of us. And we'll see by the end of it who has the most points, I guess, as to who wins it. So what I'll do, I've managed to get up all of the photos for our listings and things in a row. And what, Tom, since you are the guest, I've got your first one up first here.
Right.
So basically, if you want to just introduce us to what it is, so that listeners, people who are just listening, know what it is, and then obviously keep the price to yourself until me, Si, and Ben have given our guesses. And we'll try our best to sort of mix up who's going first for the guesses, I suppose, here, but each round.
I can't remember. Did you say that they're all buy it now prices as well?
Usually what we tend to go for, but I mean, if we do have one on bids, it's not the end of the world, but that's fine. I suppose it could be something that's ended on bids, but because otherwise it's kind of hard to guess what it would actually be. But yeah. But Tom, introduce us to your first pick.
So this is so the model is the High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer. I thought, given that the Old World is seeing the dwarf releases, I'd pick a dwarf model. I'm pretty sure this is not coming back in the Old World anytime soon, but it was kind of the quintessential centerpiece model, I think, apart from the Anvil of Doom and things like that, for dwarven armies back then. It's the High King on a massive throne carried by 4 other dwarves. What is there not to love and to add to your collection?
Well, there is one thing not to love. It's got the F word in there.
Yes, this one is fine cast, sadly.
That's true. Yeah.
So okay. I don't know. I couldn't find any metal ones that were still in the box, or
there were ones to sell the metal ones. No. I want to keep them.
I think Si and Ben may have more of an idea on this one than me, but I am going to start since I'm at the top, and then maybe on the next one we'll move down as to who goes first. But okay. ballpark for this one. I'm just gonna go flat out with. I'm gonna go with 80. Could be way more.
80.
Sorry.
Sealed, isn't it?
No, it's not sealed.
It says
No, it is sealed. It is
box.
sealed. Sorry,
Yeah.
I can see the plastic on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go 120.
Okay. Is Ben going to slap bang in the middle, or is he going to go way out of there?
I'm going to go under because I think although it is sealed and it is out of production, it's Finecast, and a lot of people hate Finecast. I'm going to go 75.
Oh, he's got just under me.
Okay.
All right, Tom. What's the reveal?
Well, apparently some people do like Finecast. It's coming in at 135.
Oh, well done, Si. Si was the closest.
Well
You went
done,
highest.
And that was the
so
cheaper one I could find. There was one for 160. So
Nice.
I think the person of 160 is dreaming.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I'm noting down the scores so we can keep track as well, because it'll soon get out of hand with many of us doing this time. So we'll move on. Si, I've got one of yours up next, so we'll move on to your first choice.
I want this.
Si, take us through what we're looking at.
Yeah, so this is Chronicles of War for Warhammer Fantasy, and there's not really an awful lot in the box, to be perfectly honest.
Doesn't matter.
The description says "still sealed," which is a bit odd, because if you scroll through the pictures, it's actually you can look at the contents of the box.
It's just an image on here, so it's like, yeah.
But everything is unpunched, so the card buildings are unpunched, and the cards and the templates are unpunched. So it's just a small supplement to Warhammer Fantasy. Ben, what is this? Halfway through fourth? Was it?
Yeah, this is fourth edition. Because the Warhammer logo is fourth edition.
Yeah. And obviously buy it now. It says still sealed, but it isn't sealed, but it is, from what I can see, complete. So what do you think it's up for? Buy it now.
So this got cardboard buildings inside it, hasn't it? And a collection of
I'll quickly tell you what it's got. If you just bear with me 1 second, I'll list the contents for you.
Yeah, because I have no idea what this really is.
Ben can probably describe it better than me, actually. It's an AI description. I can't. I'm not even.
I'll do it. It's got a collection of White Dwarf articles about scenery making that they published back then, and it's also got 3 cardboard buildings that you can build as a tower, I think a stable, and
it's like a
old worldy Germanic house.
Yeah.
All of which you would then kind of assemble, and they were all only available, as far as I'm aware, in this box.
Okay. Ooh. I'm going to say we'll start from bottom up this time, because I did go first last time. So, Ben, we'll have you go first.
I'm going to guess £199.99.
Tom?
Because it's a penny less than £2.100, so why not?
Yeah. I'm going to go in at 90.
Okay, so you're going to the bottom end. I mean...
You're going to go in the middle? You're going to go up, down?
Because it's not models, is it? It's like a really odd thing. It's
a collector's piece, though.
Yeah, I know.
Don't tell him that.
I'm not. I'm gonna go 150. I'll go somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Si, what is the price?
How much? The buy it now price. £249.99.
Oh my god! It really is for collectors, really. Then, really,
I can't afford that. I would love it. I can't afford
really
it.
Want it to get to pay that bit.
I really want it, but I can't afford that.
Well, I believe that's points to Ben for that one. Yeah.
Isn't there someone who could just reprint that and just, if we've got 3D printers making models, surely someone.
You say that. I have looked and looked and looked, and the amount of people out there that are producing cardstock scenery now is negligible. I keep thinking about if I could get some cheap printing done in like China, I'd just start doing it myself, because everything is 3D printed scenery now. Nobody is doing classic cardboard stock.
At these prices, we should start.
Indeed. We'll move on to the next one, though, which is for you, Ben. It's your first choice. What are we looking at?
So on the subject of cardstock scenery, it's in honour of last week's Warhammer 20 questions, I thought I would do the Dig and Odd box.
Love it.
So this is the supplement that was released for Gorka Morka, which contained in a kind of square cardboard box a collection of cardstock scenery. So you got some scenery that made some muty tents and a crashed chunk of spaceship. And then you also got the Diganob rulebook supplement, which contained the rules for all the odd mobs that they had released for Gorka Morka. And it is brand new in box. It has still got the cellophane on it. So it is pretty much mint condition as it rolled off the factory line.
Okay. I'm going to be friendly to Tom since he's the guest. I was going to say, Si, you go first.
Yeah, go on then. So, this is a tough one.
It is tough.
125.
125 from Si.
It's sealed, yeah.
I'll
Luke?
go next then, since Tom went second last time. The supplement itself's got to be worth a decent bit, and then old terrain tends to sometimes go for quite a bit when people want to try and get hold of it. I'm going to go over, Si, I think. I'm going to go 170.
Okay. Tom?
Is that the highest bid, 170?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, what did you say, Si? 125?
125, yeah.
Any advance on 170?
Yeah, I'm gonna go something insane like 280.
Well,
280.
You never know, do
Why
you?
not? It's sealed.
You're gonna make me do maths now, aren't you? Hang on.
Okay.
175 from you, Luke. Yeah.
170, I think.
170. Sorry,
yeah.
170. And then 280 from you, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, you are the closest. How much? It is £230 and 96
Oh,
is the bite now price, because it's $300 US. So £230 and 96 pence. So you are just like £10 or £9.
Nice, Tom. Nice.
Does it get flown over in a private jet for that?
No, it is £34 postage though, but I wasn't factoring in the postage.
Jesus.
I knew that old terrain does go for a lot. People really do go for it. It's like that not imperialist terrain, the imperial terrain that they re-released a while ago. That went for a lot again. So I'm not surprised, to be honest. So sadly, the next round is my first one, so I can't bring it back a point because it's tied at the moment across the board other than me. So we'll go into my first choice, which is a model that I have always sought after.
This is just on your shopping list, right?
It is, yes. And so I'm gonna, now you're gonna try and guess how much it would be for me to buy if I really actually wanted to get it. So it is. We're looking at Warhammer Age of Sigmar out of print, Forge World Dread Saurian with the customized wooden base, because the old base, I'm not entirely sure they necessarily ever actually came with bases, but I can't remember. No. So it's who should we go with? Who hasn't been? Tom, I think you haven't been first, to be fair. So we'll go with you first.
Is that customized wooden base normally part of it, or is that something someone's thrown in?
I don't think they ever put bases with them, to be honest.
Thrown in.
But obviously everything else is inside sealed, as it would be.
And in fact, you can see it comes with a white cardboard box, so this has got to have been relatively recently sold by Forge World as well.
Okay. I'm going to say...
Is that in your basket, Luke?
Maybe.
It's his watch list, I reckon.
I'll say 70.
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to go next? Maybe Ben go next, I suppose?
Yeah, sure. I'm fairly sure this was more than 70 when it was new, so I am going to go... I'm going to go 150.
Si?
180.
180.
Just over the top.
So
actually, no. I'll go with the first number that popped into my head. 199.
Who was the highest? Si, you, wasn't it?
Si was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Si's right. It's £350.
Wow.
Which I think is actually very similar to what it was when it first came out. They were very expensive.
Really?
Yeah, they were quite expensive, if not like a couple of £100.
Oh wow!
I mean, the models were massive, weren't they? Were like,
Oh, I didn't realise it was that big.
I thought it was like that.
Quite big models. Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay.
But yes, so Si, you did win that one. So Si is on 2. He is leading after the first round of picks. And so we come back around to Tom's second pick. Which, Tom, let us know what we're looking at here.
So this is the I don't know which edition he would have started in, but certainly he was around during 3rd edition when I got into 40k. The Crimson Fist character, Captain Cortez, who, I can't say much about him other than he was at the
brilliant.
back. Yeah, he was brilliant. He was at the back of the 3rd Ed Space Marine Codex. Had
Crimson
his
Fist character.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Crimson Fist special character,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah, absolutely. And then he kind of disappeared. I don't know if his lore actually concluded what happened to him, but he kind of just faded off.
He was supposedly lost in action, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Who knows?
I'll go first on this one again then, since we've kind of come round. New in blister, metal.
I think the code E means he was about £6 when he was RRP.
Probably, yeah. I remember picking up these blisters. This is kind of around the time when I started, so these were the first sort of blisters I'd have been picking up when I started out.
In fact, the branding on the blister is 3rd edition branding as well, actually.
I know, yeah, it's literally, this brings back, this is nostalgia for me. I'm going to guess 60.
Okay, 60.
Who wants to go second? Sai, maybe?
Yeah, go on then. I'm still traumatized by the fact that I cut my Captain Cortez up. Yeah, I didn't know better.
One of those.
75.
Ben?
I don't think he's that rare. I think there's a fair few of these kicking around, but he is new in blister. I'm going to go 45.
I knew we'd all be around the same ballpark.
So it was
Tom?
45. What were you, Luke?
No, I was 60, so I think Ben's closest.
Yeah, I think Ben is closest. So it was £51.
What's
your
guess, Ben?
I guess 45, so I'm 6
Yeah,
away.
you're closest, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
just
60. Just, yeah.
You're right.
Man,
He's
I've
not
been
as rare as
so
you would
close.
think.
2 occasions now I've nearly tied with people. Okay, so Ben, you won that one.
Equalise with Sai.
You are, yeah. So it's score at the moment. Luke on 0. We have Tom on 1,
Nil
and we
point.
have Simon and Ben tied on 2. Going into, this is your second pick, Sai.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let us know what we're looking at.
Very shiny.
So this is a sealed Chaos Dwarf sorcerer on the Bull Centaur. Lamassu. And it's sealed.
Lamassu.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very popular model for Chaos Dwarf players back in the day. Comes with the banner as well, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Looks
And
like
it's
it, yeah.
it's sealed in the box.
We actually had one similar to this a while back that I picked, but it was on the what was it that I picked?
The Bull Centaur. You did the other one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think this one's the main character, but the yeah.
Ben, I can't remember what it is he's
riding.
riding. I don't think this one is a Bull Centaur, is it?
It says
No, it's a
Lamassu.
Lamassu.
It's a Lamassu.
Yeah.
Ben, I believe you were first on this round.
It is, I'm going to say, 250 quid.
Okay. I think I went second on this one, so I'll go next. I'm gonna say 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
50, 150. I'm going to go again crazy on the up. 400.
Ooh, okay.
Swing
Sai?
for the fences.
So Ben, what were you?
250?
I said 150, did I?
Yeah, you went
150.
100 less than me.
And then Tom is way above.
Or
So
Tom's batting for the fences.
I'm just toying with you. I know he's closest. Tom's closest,
oh,
but
Go
he's still a mile away.
oh,
Anyone
really?
want to have a quick second?
Oh,
guess?
we got a proper good one. This 800.
Tom.
Oh, yeah, I'd be like, I was going to say 900, something in that
We're
region.
not going into thousands, are we?
Well, we're a quid off. 999.
That's a chance. Isn't it?
That's
That is a real
ridiculous.
chance.
I told you I'd found a belter for the second one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh,
actually.
no, I've just realised. So, okay, Tom equalises, yeah?
Yes.
I can't win now because mine is the final one up.
No, you can't actually.
No, I can't
Here
win.
we go.
It's gonna be either Luke.
No, because I've got one, haven't I?
Luke's got a second one to go.
Oh, yes, okay, I'm still on
Yeah.
this
So technically, if I win your one, Ben, for you,
Yeah.
you have a chance still. But your second pick, Ben.
This is. I don't know if you got the second picture that I loaded for this as well.
Oh,
This
sorry.
Is,
Hold
no,
on.
if you
explain what it
haven't,
is.
you haven't.
Okay.
This is the Space Marine novel, the paperback, 1993 by Ian Watson. It's the first edition paperback, signed by Ian Watson, and it's not only signed; it's signed and dated as well to earmark that it was signed at release, and it's in pretty much mint condition as well.
I'm sorry to say it.
If you have a picture of the other,
was it Simon going first on this one last time? No, was it Tom?
I think I went
Was it
first.
you, Tom? Yeah,
I have to go first. 500.
Okay.
Luke,
shall I go next? So, God,
It's first edition, is it as well?
yeah, I think they only released them in paperback. I don't believe they ever released them in hardback. So this is first edition.
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna swing for the fences here and go 800.
Si?
I remember this book. It's signed as well, isn't it?
It is signed.
175. 175.
175.
Yeah.
The signature reads Ian Watson, 18th September 1993. So like I said, he even dated the date that he signed it.
The year before I was born.
And it's not made out to anyone like too.
No, it's literally just signed by his name and then the date. So he even signed and dated it, which I think is pretty cool. I won't keep you in suspense. Si, you are the closest.
Yeah, 175.
£199 and 99 pence. Si, you are quite
over.
clearly the closest. There's no bids on it either. So buy it now, and then there's the option to bid instead.
Okay,
It's a lot for that.
That's a lot.
That
It
sums
is
up my game.
Proper
This
collector's
week.
piece.
That sums up my game of how much this week.
Also, 3
Guy,
points to Spy,
I
2
think
points to myself and
Still
Tom.
can be tied up by Tom, but Ben, you are out along with me, I believe.
I'm
Is
on
that right?
2, aren't I? I'm on
Oh no,
2.
you can tie it up with Si. Sorry,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
tie it
you
up
can
with Si.
still get it, yeah.
You just can't win it technically, I guess.
No.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
My second pick is the Citadel Mighty Fortress, or Castle, whatever you want to call it, terrain set. How much do we think it is? I can't remember who went first on this one.
I think I did.
I think you did, Ben, yeah.
So this is the original. Actually, this is what my friend Michael's got in a box somewhere. This is the original foam one that they released, not the later plastic model. In fact, it's still in its box. It's pretty cool. I am going to go. It's not as popular, bizarrely, as the all plastic one because it does feel more like a kid's toy, I suppose, being all kind of foam, spongy blocks. I'm going to go £80.
Okay. We'll go with you, Si, next because you went last on the last one.
I have no idea. 400 quid. I have no idea.
400. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
okay.
going after that Chaos Sorcerer we've just seen. Some people
You're
get a bit
taking
giddy, don't they, so.
400. Tom, you are last.
So it's 80 and
80,
400.
400.
I'll go in the middle, sort of.
I thought you might.
200.
Okay. Tom is bang on the money. It's £200.
Bang on 200.
Bang on £200.
Excellent. For only one to get bang on. You tied
It
up
is,
with
actually,
tie.
yeah. Yep. So there we go. So yeah, in the end we have Si and Tom on 3 points apiece for the tie at the end of this one. So well done, Tom. First guest ever on for the how much, and you smashed it out of the park.
I think Tom should take the tie break because he actually got it on the money. Like
Oh,
literally
that's
on the nose.
probably fair, actually. That's not
The
bad,
other week
actually.
when I got it on the money, you wouldn't give me the victory.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting
We'll share it.
development.
We'll share it.
No, Tom can have it. He's the guest.
That's it. Ben, you got 2 points in second place and triumphant on 0 points. Wargaming Luke. I'm just saving my powers for the next time we play How Much. That's all I'm doing. But yeah, fun game.
Celebrating on eBay like we do at night.
What's that?
I don't know. That dread story that I think lives in
old
his
things on
basket.
eBay like we do.
Yeah. But we'll end the show there. It's been a fun one this week. Sty, we'll start with you. Where can we find you, my friend?
Usual place on YouTube as Hobby Waffle. Same for Twitter and Instagram, or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm on Facebook as well. I always forget to mention that one. Yeah. Latest video I've done is on Kill Team, what might be coming for the new edition of Kill Team. So could be interesting if that turns out to be true.
Nice, sounds good. Ben, where can we find you?
Likewise, you can find me over on my channel and on Twitter and Instagram and all the rest, Facebook, as 90% Geek. I have got a few ideas for videos this week. It might be that I do the long-awaited "Which Disney character are the Primarchs" video that I just randomly had in the back of my brain. But equally, I'm contemplating doing like a more of a tactics video on Battlefleet Gothic.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And Tom, mate, again, like I say, first returning guest, so well done for that in itself, I guess. But we've really enjoyed having you on again. I'm sure the guys will agree with me there.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks for coming on again, mate. And I suppose, where can people find yourself? Because obviously you do some great content.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure. So thanks for having me back on. At Tabletop Tom on Twitter and YouTube. I have had a couple of months off gearing up for 4th Day OS, but now it's here. No doubt there'll be some ideas floating around my head in the coming days.
Some videos going up for that. Nice. Sounds good, mate. Again, thanks for coming back on. Before we do leave off, obviously, guys, make sure you're throwing a like on the video, leaving them comments down below, and subscribing to us here on YouTube or following us over on Spotify. As for myself, signing off, you can find me in all the usual places, Twitter and whatnot. Been busy with the Euros recently, so I'll be back to posting some more hobby content. But other than that, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Well, as always, happy wargaming. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
See you later.